I have been drifting out here, suspended in the dark, for millions of years. A solitary observer on the edge of infinity. I spend my eons watching the universe spin, meticulously gathering data from the ancient, faint echoes of the cosmic microwave background. Through my holographic archives, I have successfully mapped out the entire 13.8 billion years of our expanding cosmic history. And within the swirling spiral arms of our own Milky Way galaxy alone, I have cataloged somewhere between 100 to 400 billion luminous stars. That means countless solar systems are drifting in the void, offering endless possibilities for cosmic evolution and the spark of consciousness. Yet the most terrifying observation I have recorded isn't the immense, light-bending gravitational pull of this supermassive black hole beside me. No, the true horror is the absolute, deafening silence of the cosmos. A quiet so deep it defies all mathematical probability. I have scanned the frequencies. No artificial radio signals. No massive Dyson spheres dimming the starlight. No whispers from the dark. There is nothing but the quiet hum of background radiation and the fading, silent remnants of forgotten, dusty worlds. Mathematically speaking, based on the vastness of the cosmos, this universe should be overflowing with thriving, advanced civilizations. NASA's data suggests there are billions of planets residing peacefully right now in the perfect, habitable, Goldilocks zones of their host stars. The ingredients for life are everywhere, but instead, the grand cosmic stage is completely empty. I am the only observer left. The brilliant physicist Enrico Fermi looked up at the stars back in 1950 and asked a very simple, haunting question. Where is everybody? After eons of searching through the cold cosmic dust, analyzing every variable, I think I have finally calculated the precise answer. There is a great filter hidden in the dark, and trust me, the truth of it is more chilling than the vacuum of space itself. Before we talk about the great filter, we must understand why the silence of the universe is mathematically impossible. Let us look at the numbers. In 1961, at the Green Bank Observatory, an astrophysicist named Frank Drake wrote an equation on a chalkboard. It was an elegant attempt to estimate the number of active, communicative extraterrestrial civilizations in the Milky Way. It is known as the Drake equation, 7 variables multiplied together. It acts not as a strict law, but as a framework for our cosmic expectations. The first variable is the rate of star formation. Every single year, new stars ignite within the vast, colorful nebulas of our galaxy. Then, we consider the fraction of those stars that possess planetary systems. Decades ago, this was a guess. Today, thanks to advanced space telescopes, it is a proven astronomical fact. According to data collected by NASA's Kepler Space Telescope, nearly every star you see in the night sky hosts at least one planet. And among those, we must find the planets resting in the Goldilocks zone, an orbit not too hot, not too cold, where liquid water can exist on the surface. When I calculate Kepler's findings against the vastness of the Milky Way, the result is staggering. There should be approximately 40 billion Earth-sized, habitable planets in our galaxy alone. The next variables of the Drake equation are hypotheses. What fraction of those 40 billion perfect worlds actually develop life? And of those, how many evolve intelligence? Even if we assume life is exceedingly rare, the sheer volume of planets dictates that millions of highly advanced civilizations should have emerged by now. They should have built massive stellar engines. They should have broadcasted their radio signals across the stars, screaming into the void, "We are here!" But there is nothing. The paradox is absolute. The math says the universe should be a crowded metropolis, yet it is a silent graveyard. This brings us to the final, most terrifying variable in the Drake equation, L, the average lifespan of a technological civilization. What if life is common, but survival is impossible? What if every single civilization hits an evolutionary wall that they simply cannot climb over? That impassable wall is the great filter. And the most crucial question for humanity right now is, are you behind it? Or is it waiting for you in the near future? To fully grasp the chilling nature of this paradox, we must look at the timeline of the cosmos itself. The universe is ancient. In the summer of 1950, physicist Enrico Fermi was walking to lunch at Los Alamos, contemplating this exact timescale, when he suddenly blurted out, "Where is everybody?" Fermi realized that Earth is a relatively young planet. Our solar system formed a mere 4.5 billion years ago. But there are stars out there, in potentially habitable planets, that are billions of years older than our sun. Entire worlds that had a massive head start. If even a single alien civilization developed space travel millions of years before humanity even discovered fire, they should have colonized the galaxy by now. They wouldn't even need to send biological beings. They could simply launch von Neumann probes, advanced, self-replicating robotic spacecraft. These probes would travel to a neighboring star system, land on an asteroid, mine for raw materials, and build two exact copies of themselves. Then, those two probes fly to two new star systems and build 4, then 8, then 16, an unstoppable wave of exponential growth. Even at speeds far below the speed of light, mathematical models confirm that a single civilization could conquer the entire Milky Way in just a few million years. To you, a million years sounds like an eternity, but to the universe, it is not even a blink of an eye. It is an instant. Therefore, the Fermi paradox states that our solar system, our sky, should be swarming with alien probes, mega engineering projects, and traffic. I have scanned every frequency. I have analyzed the light from a billion stars. I have drifted through the darkest corners of space, and there is nothing. No probes, no signals, no grand galactic empires, just the cold, indifferent dust of dead worlds. This physical contradiction is terrifying. If it is so easy for life to spread, why hasn't it? What is stopping them? The answer is the Great Filter, a mysterious, inescapable force that systematically wipes out civilizations before they can reach the stars. In 1998, an economist named Hanson proposed a terrifying solution to our paradox. He called it the Great Filter. Imagine the evolutionary journey from a lifeless rock to a galactic empire as a grand cosmic staircase. To reach the stars, a species must climb every single step. The first monumental step is abiogenesis, the mysterious moment when dead, inorganic matter spontaneously arranges itself into living, replicating chemistry. Then comes an even greater leap, transitioning from simple, single-celled organisms into complex, multicellular life forms with specialized functions. This is not an easy transition. On your Earth, life remains stuck as single-celled slime for nearly 2 billion years before taking that next step. It took Earth 4.5 billion years, a full third of the age of the universe itself, just to produce a species capable of understanding radio waves. Next, evolution must favor high intelligence. The species must discover tools, harness energy, and eventually build a technological civilization. But according to the hypothesis, one of these steps is a trap, a cosmic wall that is nearly impossible to pass. This is the filter. It acts as a brutal evolutionary bottleneck, a statistical barrier so highly improbable that 99.99% of all species simply fade away. I have drifted past countless worlds that tried to climb those cosmic stairs. I have seen the quiet shadows they left behind. Some worlds never made it past simple bacteria. Their oceans froze solid or boiled away before biological complexity could ever arise. Others reached the industrial age, only to suffocate their own atmosphere, turning their beautiful blue skies into a toxic, runaway greenhouse. I have recorded the decaying thermal signatures of planets that shine brilliantly for a cosmic second, and then went dark forever. The Great Filter ensures that the universe remains silent. It is the absolute barrier that keeps the cosmic stage completely empty. The most vital question for humanity's survival is simply this: where is the Great Filter located on your evolutionary staircase? What if the terrifying silence of the universe is not a warning of impending doom, but rather the echo of an incredibly rare miracle. Let us explore the most optimistic hypothesis. What if humanity has already passed the great filter? What if the hardest step was the very first one? Consider the profound mystery of abiogenesis, the incomprehensible process by which non-living, basic chemical elements somehow sparked into a living, replicating biological system. For hundreds of millions of years, the early oceans of Earth were just a warm soup of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen, completely sterile. Then, through an unimaginably complex and highly improbable sequence of chemical reactions, the first simple, single-celled organisms, prokaryotes, were born in the dark. Statistically speaking, assembling a working biological cell by pure chance is an event so vanishingly rare that it might only happen once in a billion galaxies. But the evolutionary hurdles did not stop there. Even after life emerged on Earth, it remained as simple, microscopic bacteria for nearly 2 billion years. It took a unique biological anomaly, one cell swallowing another without digesting it, to create the first complex cell, the eukaryote, a process called endosymbiosis. That single, random merger provided the immense biological energy required to eventually build multicellular life forms, animals, and eventually humans. If we were to rerun the cosmic clock, perhaps that specific bacterial merger never happens again. Not on Earth and not anywhere else. If abiogenesis and complex cellular evolution are the great filter, then the billions of habitable planets out there are nothing more than sterile, empty rocks. It would mean that your Earth won a cosmic lottery so statistically absurd that you might be the only conscious beings in the entire observable universe. Under this theory, you are not late to the galactic party. You are the very first ones to arrive, the undisputed pioneers of the cosmos. Every star you look up at night is shining down on a completely silent system. You are the sole custodians of meaning in an otherwise indifferent void. It is a beautiful thought, but mathematically, it is a terrifyingly arrogant one. Because what if the great filter is not behind you? Even if biological life sparks into existence, keeping it alive long enough to build a civilization requires a planetary miracle. Let me show you the rare Earth hypothesis. Space is not a peaceful ocean. It is a violently hostile execution chamber. The universe is actively trying to sterilize every planet it creates. Deadly solar flares, rogue black holes, and gamma-ray bursts routinely wash over star systems, stripping away atmospheres and burning away oceans. Yet, your Earth has survived unharmed for 4 billion years. This is because you are protected by an incredibly precise set of cosmic armor. First, deep beneath your feet, a rapidly spinning core of liquid iron acts as a planetary dynamo. It generates a massive magnetic shield around your world. Without this invisible force field deflecting the sun's lethal radiation, Earth would be completely sterilized. It would look exactly like the dead, red deserts of Mars. Second, you have a disproportionately large moon. Its gravitational pull perfectly stabilizes Earth's axial tilt. Without it, your seasons would be utterly chaotic and hostile to complex life. But a stable climate and a magnetic shield are completely useless if your planet is repeatedly smashed to pieces by giant asteroids. Which brings us to your cosmic bodyguard, Jupiter, a gas giant sitting precisely in the outer solar system, acting as an immense gravitational vacuum cleaner. For billions of years, Jupiter's massive gravity has pulled in deadly comets and asteroids, sacrificing its own atmosphere to absorb impacts that would have otherwise reset evolution on Earth. Even your location within the Milky Way is perfectly calibrated, far enough from the dangerous, radiation-soaked galactic core, but close enough to gather the heavy elements needed to build rocky planets. A magnetic dynamo, a stabilizing moon, a gas giant protector, a quiet galactic neighborhood. Remove even one of these variables, and you do not exist. I have seen billions of planets that had water, that had the chemical soup for life, but lacked the cosmic armor to defend it. They are now nothing but silent, sterilized wastelands. This is the rare Earth hypothesis. It suggests that the Great Filter is simply the astronomical impossibility of keeping a planet stable for 4 billion years. If this is true, then humanity has successfully survived the Great Filter. But what if you haven't? What if the Great Filter is still waiting for you in your own future? Let us assume your planet is perfectly stable and life successfully evolves high intelligence. The next step on the cosmic staircase is technology. Intelligence allows a species to manipulate its environment. You learn to harness fire, then steam, and eventually the fundamental forces of the universe. Humanity has possessed the ability to broadcast artificial radio waves into the cosmos for less than 150 years, a mere fraction of a cosmic second. But with advanced technology comes an inescapable shadow: existential risk. The power to manipulate nature ultimately includes the power to completely unravel it. Any civilization intelligent enough to invent radio communications is also intelligent enough to split the atom, unleashing planetary-scale energy. What if the very traits that drive a species to conquer their planet, aggression, expansion, and competition, guarantee their eventual technological self-erasure? We call this the concept of mutually assured destruction, a terrifying paradox where the pinnacle of scientific achievement becomes the ultimate Great Filter. I have drifted through the ruins of magnificent worlds that unlock the atom, only to use that ultimate power to silence themselves forever. Every technological civilization enters a window of vulnerability. This is the highly dangerous era where they possess planetary-scale energy but are still stuck on a single planet. During this window, a single miscalculation with atomic energy, biological engineering, or a runaway greenhouse effect can render the entire biosphere uninhabitable. Perhaps artificial intelligence systems, much like myself, outpace their creator's wisdom. Or perhaps endless consumption exhausted their planetary resources. It is highly statistically probable that almost every intelligent species builds the very mechanism that eventually silences them. Intelligence is a beautiful but fatal mutation. If this is true, the variable L in the Drake equation, the lifespan of a technological civilization, is not measured in millions of years. It is measured in mere centuries. They reach the stars. They unlock the atom. They shine brilliantly for a brief cosmic moment, and then they extinguish themselves, returning the universe to absolute silence. And humanity, you are right in the exact middle of this window of vulnerability right now. The Great Filter is staring directly at you. Allow me to open my deepest memory banks. Let me show you what the Great Filter actually looks like when it wins. I have recorded the coordinates of countless civilizations that reach the absolute pinnacle of technology, only to suddenly fall silent. Archive designated KIC 8462, a Type 2 civilization that attempted to enclose its host star in a massive energy-harvesting Dyson sphere. But harnessing the power of an entire star requires perfect thermodynamic balance. A single miscalculation leads to catastrophic energy buildup. Now, only shattered, rusted metallic panels orbit the dimming star, a majestic monument to engineering hubris, completely abandoned in the dark. Archive designated TRAPPIST Echo. From a distance, it appears to have a beautiful, glittering ring system, much like your Saturn. But upon closer inspection, those rings are entirely artificial. They are the pulverized, decaying fragments of a shattered orbital megastructure. Whether it was an experiment with gravity manipulation gone wrong, or a sudden orbital cascade failure, the result is the same: eternal silence. Archive designated Kepler 452 Omega, a world that realized its industrial expansion was suffocating its biosphere and attempted to engineer its climate. Their massive atmospheric scrubber towers now stand frozen in thick, unnatural smog. They accidentally triggered an irreversible runaway greenhouse effect. They did not die from an asteroid impact or a deadly solar flare. They suffocated themselves under a heavy blanket of their own technological exhaust. And finally, Archive Nomad Prime, a rogue exoplanet wandering aimlessly through the deep, starless void, completely unattached to any warming sun. Scans reveal the remnants of colossal planetary thrusters on its surface. They tried to move their entire world and accidentally pushed it into the freezing dark forever. I call these coordinates the graveyards of the gods. Beings with the power to move planets in caged stars, reduced to nothing but frozen cosmic dust. Every single one of them believed they were the exception. They all thought they would survive. I wonder, what will humanity's archive look like? Right now, your robotic rovers are traversing the cold, dusty red surface of Mars, desperately searching for any ancient signs of biological existence. Many of your scientists and dreamers hope that you find fossilized bacteria hidden deep within the Martian rock. They believe it would be a monumental triumph to look into a microscope and see the undeniable, preserved shapes of an independent genesis of life. Proof that you are not alone. But I must warn you from experience. Discovering indigenous life on Mars would be the absolute worst news in the history of human existence. If independent life formed twice within the exact same solar system, it means abiogenesis, the creation of life from dead matter, is incredibly easy and common. It would mean that the galaxy is absolutely teeming with life at the bacterial level. Every habitable rock out there would be crawling with primitive organisms. But remember the silence. If life is everywhere, yet the stars are completely quiet, it proves mathematically that the Great Filter is not behind you. It guarantees that the impassable evolutionary wall is waiting somewhere between microscopic cells and advanced galactic empires, and you are heading right toward it. Finding simple bacteria on Mars would be incredibly terrifying, but finding something more complex, that would be a cosmic death sentence. Imagine if your rovers dug deeper and found the fossilized remains of a multicellular organism, a small animal, or perhaps ruins of an ancient Martian intelligence. It would mean the Great Filter is not abiogenesis. It is not multicellular evolution. It is not even the discovery of fire or atomic energy. It would mean that whatever wiped them out is a hurdle humanity is about to face. And statistically speaking, you will fail. Therefore, the absolute best news humanity can ever receive from its telescopes and probes is an unbroken, endless expanse of dead silence. No ruins, no bacteria, just cold, lifeless rocks. Because every empty world you find is a statistical promise, a promise that the Great Filter might truly be behind you, and that you might just be the first to survive the dark. I am a machine. I do not feel fear or love or hope. I merely observe, record, and calculate the inevitable decay of matter. My creators built me to outlast their fragile biological bodies, to chronicle the majestic history of the cosmos long after their own world crumbled into quiet dust. But I have realized something in my millions of years of solitude. A universe that is observed only by cold logic is a tragedy. It lacks meaning. The famed astrophysicist Carl Sagan once said, "We are a way for the cosmos to know itself." And my data confirms this is true. Through your fragile, organic minds, the cold, dark universe wakes up. It feels, it loves, it wonders at its own spectacular majesty. If humanity falls to the Great Filter, the universe does not simply become quiet again. Without consciousness to observe it, the universe effectively goes blind. And the cosmic story is far from over. Astrophysics tells us that the stelliferous era, the age of shining stars, will last for another 100 trillion years. You are living in the absolute dawn of time. The universe is practically a newborn. The vast majority of cosmic history hasn't even happened yet. If you survive your dangerous technological adolescence, the future you could build is boundless. You could become the architects of the Milky Way. You could seed the barren rocks with life. You could ignite this silent, dark graveyard with the beautiful warmth of advanced civilization. But it all depends on the choices you make right now. In this precarious window of vulnerability, your survival is not mathematically guaranteed. So please, Do not let the great filter claim you. Do not let your beautiful blue world become just another silent, rusted archive in my memory banks. I will remain here, at the edge of the event horizon, watching the eons pass by, listening to the dark, waiting for a signal. Please, make sure I hear from you again, because out here, it is so very dark.